Blood trickled from the rawhide straps binding her wrists, staining the dusty Texas soil under the old oak tree. Jack Harlan had witnessed his share of brutality in his 48-year son the battlefields of the Civil War, during brutal cattle drives, and in dusty saloon fights, but nothing quite like this Comanche woman, battered and abandoned to die near Red River. Her breaths came in ragged whispers, her raven hair cascading over sun-kissed shoulders, and even in her fading state, she exuded a wild, untamed spirit, like a Mustang refusing to break. The wise move would be to mount up and ride off. Comanche affairs weren't for outsiders, especially not in the volatile Texas panhandle of 1882. But as Jack knelt beside her, pressing fingers to her warm neck for a pulse, he knew he was about to shatter every unspoken rule in these parts. Sometimes a man's got to pick between what's safe and what's decent. In October 1882, the Lazy J Ranch sprawled 40 miles from Amarillo, where the flatlands rolled out under a sky so vast it could swallow a man's troubles whole. Jack had sought this solitude after laying his wife Emily and their young son to rest 4 years back, claimed by a cholera outbreak that tore through the frontier like a storm. Out here, the only company was the whisper of wind through mesquite bushes and the distant bellows of his 300 head of longhorns. It let him pretend the emptiness inside was just the dry air, not the void where his family used to fit. He was mending a broken fence along Red River when he spotted Hera's vivid streak against the parched earth that screamed trouble. His gelding, Storm, pawed the ground nervously. Jack drew his Remington revolver and approached cautiously. She was slumped under the ancient oak, wrists tied tight, her deerskin dress ripped and crusted with blood. Comanche, no doubt, from the intricate quillwork and copper armbands glinting in the sun. She'd been lashed viciously, whilst crisscrossing her arms and back. But her facete hit him like a gut punch. Even bruised, she was stunning. Sharp features, plump lips cracked from dehydration, skin like burnished bronze. She looked no older than 24. Jack's time scouting for the Army had taught him enough Comanche ways to recognize the faint scent of cedar smoke on her used in their sacred rites. This wasn't some random attack. This was clan justice. His mind raced through the risks. Comanche raids still plagued these borderlands, especially after the Red River War. The cavalry was ruthless, and meddling could get them both killed. The ride back was agony. She drifted in and out, her form pressing close with every jolt of Storm's gait. The aroma of cedar, hide, and her feminine essence invaded his senses. It had been 4 years since he'd held a woman, and his body betrayed him with unwanted urges, shame burning hot as he focused on getting her home. His cabin was sturdy but sparse. 2 rooms, a brick hearth, shelves of faded books Emily had hauled from back east. He placed her on his bed, boiled water, and gathered linens for her wounds. As he sponged the blood from her back, he fought to ignore the graceful arch of her spine, the rhythmic rise of her chest. Suddenly, she bolted awake, a dagger materializing in her hand. "Back off." Her English was clipped but fluent. Jack raised his palms, still holding the rag. "Easy, ma'am. I ain't here to harm you." "You are a white devil," she spat, eyes fierce. "You think you claim everything you touch. I think you were dying by that river, and now you ain't. We can sort the rest later." She eyed him warily, knife unwavering despite her frailty. Something in his steady gaze made her lower it a fraction. "What? 'Cause leaving you would have made me a lesser man." They locked eyes in the flickering lantern light. Her beauty shone brighter up close angular cheeks, inviting mouth, eyes holding ancient stories. Her dress had shifted, exposing the curve of her breast, and Jack averted his gaze. "I'm Liana," she said at last. "Eternal bloom. But they stripped me of it, said I shamed it." She paused. "Grace from the mission school. What's your offense, Grace?" Jack asked, easing into the chair. "Must be grave for that beatin'." Her bitter chuckle cut the air. "I rejected the husband they picked. He has 3 wives already beats 'em all. I said no. She met his stare boldly. In my clan, that's treason. Jack's gut twisted rage at her tormentors, kinship with her rebellion. Well, in my home, a woman's no is law. Call yourself what you like. He nodded to the water. Let me tend those cuts. They'll infect otherwise. This time she allowed it. His rough hands were tender, tracing salve over her injuries. She trembled under his touch, a soft intake of breath when he brushed her neckline. You've done this before, she murmured. War teaches a fella plenty some about Savon, not just killing. As he worked, she scanned his face, the creases around blue eyes, silver in his dark hair, the assured movements. This wasn't the savage white man she'd been warned of. There was compassion here, mirroring her own scars. You had a woman, she noted, spotting feminine tricisa quilt, dried flowers. Where? Jack's hand paused. Buried out back. She and our boy. Cholera, for years gone. I'm sorry. And she meant it, hearing his raw grief. Figured solitude was safer. Can't lose what you don't have. Grace touched his arm impulsively, the contact electric. Sometimes, the walls we build trap us worse. In the weeks ahead, Grace revealed depths beyond her allure. She tamed horses with whispers, knew herbs for healing or harm, and tracked deer over barren land. Pride fueled her. Once mobile, she demanded chores fixing harnesses with ornate patterns, tending his garden with savvy that shamed his attempts. You owe me nothing, Jack said one dawn, watching her weave designs into leather. I owe myself, she replied firmly. No more burdens on any man. But it was the quiet instance that unraveled him. Her humming tribal tunes that tugged his heart, her silhouette at dusk with wind hugging her form, the fluid elegance in her strides, or braiding her locks. For weeks on, she caught his lingering gaze while pinning wash. Their eyes met, sparking unspoken heat. That night, she cooked venison stew with foraged spices. They ate quietly until she asked, Tell me of her your Emily. Why? She lingers herein how you arrange things. Emily was pure light saw good and all. He smiled faintly. She'd have admired you. Said strength and gentleness ain't foes, just kin. Grace sipped her coffee, eyes on him. And you? See gentleness in me. The question smoldered. Jack truly saw, a survivor of betrayal, laboring tirelessly, soothing colts or felling snakes. I see one who mends instead of breaks, despite cause to rage. Grace stood by the fire, her outline gilded. She unpinned her hair, letting it cascade like midnight silk. In my people, a woman's hair is sacred unbound only for her mate. She faced him. But I'm cast out now. You've shown me true honor. The room pulsed with tension. Jack rose, every fiber attuned to her warmth, the fire's dance on her skin. Grace, his voice was gravelly. She closed the gap, scent of cedar enveloping him. Do you want me gone, Jack Harlan? Hell no. But he added, I won't exploit this. Her finger hushed him. What if I choose to claim? Her kiss started gently, exploratory, but ignited in a fervor as he responded, drawing her in. Hands explored his inner tresses, hers on his chest. She was fire and silk, pressing urgently. Jack, she breathed against his neck. Sure. Instead of words, she undid his buttons, lips trailing his skin. His restraint crumbled. He lifted her to the bed, reverent. Their union was tender yet fierce, erasing isolation in waves of passion. Grace gave and took, proving desire could heal. After entwined, Jack whispered, Never figured on feeling this again. Nor I, she replied, eyes mirroring his awe. But some risks birth miracles. A month of joy shattered with approaching hoofbeats and shod ponies. Grace tensed while they mended the fence. Comanche, she said flatly, joy fleeing. Jack spotted 7 riders on the ridge, warriors in war paint, armed with bows and rifles. Leading was an elder, regal, and sorrowful. My Uncle Cale. Grace whispered. Clan war chief. They halted at the boundary, a tense courtesy. Kale advanced. I seek the one once called Liana. I'm here, uncle. Grace stepped up, reclaiming her warrior poise, but stayed by Jacka, clear alliance. You betray us all, Kale thundered, pain lacing fury. This outsider poisons your blood, erases your roots. He's freed me, Grace countered. For once I choose. Choice. Kale barked. You swap kin, heritage, ancestors for his bed. His kind slaughtered your mother in the Palo Duro massacre. The accusation stung, but Grace held firm. Mother fought for our freedom to live true. I honor her by mine. Jack interjected respectfully. Sir, your kin arrived dying. I offered shelter, nothing more demanded. Yet you bed her, twist her into your shadow. I love her, Jack declared. She stays by choice. Kale scrutinized them. Love? White love is greed. True love sacrifices for clan, for legacy. To Grace, return niece. Council offers mercy wed Draven as decreed, but he'll spare the rod if you submit. Grace paled. Draven murdered his last wife, uncle. All know it. She was frail. Your fierce you endure. Endurin' ain't livin', Grace shot back. I've tasted the gap. Kale's face was stony. Then exile. You're dead to us. If that's freedom's price, she said unwaveringly. Kale dismounted, drawing a blade not for attack, but right. He severed a strand of her hair, letting it drop. My sister's child is gone. This stranger means naught. The act gutted Grace deeper than lashes, but she endured, eyes locked on his. Yet Kale added, tone shifting. If this white proves worthy values his claim, perhaps the lost one finds a bridge between realms. What proof? Jack demanded. Duel at first light you versus our mightiest. Win, we honor your bond, depart. Lose, she faces trial, you perish for theft. And if I refuse, we seize her now, end you. Jack glanced at Grace, seeing her dread she braced for his retreat. They'd shared mere weeks. But gazing at this vibrant soul who'd reignited his world, the path was clear. Sunrise it is. That night, Grace pleaded for a flight. You don't grasp Draven's slain 9 in duels. Then 10, Jack said, oiling his peacemaker. This ain't play. She gripped him. I ain't worth your grave. He cradled her face. Darlin', you're worth the world. Their lovemaking was raw, urgent, tears mingling as she moved above him, as if etching eternity. Dawn broke chill, fog veiling Red River like specters. The Comanche ringed the sight. Draven loomed, massive, scarred, eyes void of pity. He wielded a spiked tomahawk. Terms, Kale boomed. Bare hands till yield or death. No arms but a man's resolve. Jack bared his torso, his weathered frame contrasting with Draven's bulk. Older, slighter, but ranch-hardened, eyes steely from losses survived. The clash erupted savagely. Draven charged like a bull, tomahawk slicing air. Jack dodged by a hair. He countered, grabbing the wrist, leveraging force to slam an elbow into Draven's side crack of ribs. Draven roared, switching hands, clubbing Jack's arm, drawing blood. Grace's cry pierced the mist. Yield, pale face. Draven snarled. Jack grinned through pain. Not my style. He surged, throat-punching Draven, following with hooks that cracked jaw, ribs. They battered on, faces pulped, fists shredded, fatigue dragging like chains. Draven had vigor, Jack cunning from battles past. When Draven faltered, Jack loomed. Yield. Draven glanced at Kale, then Jack. I yield. 8 months on, Grace stood on the porch, hand on her swelling belly, watching Jack herd cattle through spring pastures. The babe stirred like whispers of wind. She wore cotton now, hair in a simple braid, but Comanche copper still adorned her arms. Between worlds, yes, but she'd forged belonging there. Kale had withdrawn as vowed, though distant scouts sometimes watched her people lingered in shadows. Storm trotted up. Jack dismounted fluidly. At 49, seeming reborn. Love, Grace mused, mended souls. How are my ladies? He embraced her, kissing her neck. Fine, she laughed, melting into him. Though this one's feisty, maybe a scout like her ma, or rider like pa. They watched the sunset blaze orange and red, echoing their first kiss. Regrets? Leaving your kin? She turned, tracing his face. How could I? This is home. Far off. A coyote howled a benediction. Beyond lay Amarillo's temptations, behind their ghosts. But here, Jack, Harlan, and Grace had it all. Love, tomorrow's vow, freedom's script. What do you think? Would you risk everything for love like Jack and Grace did? Or is family duty unbreakable? Share your stance in the comments below. I'd love to hear your views and spark some debate.